The Indonesian archipelago is by far the world's largest, with 13,677 islands, straddling the equator over a distance of more than 5,000 kilometres between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. The island of Sulawesi is home to a remarkable minority, the Torajan, who live in an autonomous region high in the mountains of South Sulawesi. The Torajans have a relatively simple subsistence lifestyle where they largely grow what they eat and believe that there is a wonderful life after death in accord with their atheist beliefs, where their legends claim that their ancestors arrived in a storm from the northern seas and pulled their splintered boats ashore and used them as roofs. Their present-day houses have roofs shaped like ships, all facing north, being the direction of their origin. Each village adjoins a communal rice paddy, with rice being the principal item on the Torajan diet. This is a typical Torajan village, and ideally shows the typical Torajan housing and the things which are really important in Torajan lifestyle. Tucked in below the rugged volcanic mountains, the setting is absolutely magnificent. Fronting us now is the row of identical rice barns. Behind the barns is a street, and the other side of the street is a row of residential housing, similar in structure, but obviously more elaborate, as we will soon see. But first, look at the extraordinary care taken in looking after the well-being of a buffalo. The caribou or buffalo is essential through the Torajan lifestyle. It is revered as virtually being part of the family, the extended family, that is. The buffalo provides the horsepower to get things done. It is used to haul carts to contain things and transport them from the fields back to the village or to town. It can also be part of their diet. A bit sad, but that's the way it is. And buffaloes are often sacrificed at ceremonial occasions, especially at funerals or marriages. Funerals, of course, are a cause for celebration, not sorrow, because death is the start of another stage of life, an even better one, when the deceased person ascends to Torajan heaven forever. The number of buffaloes owned by a family is also a very important symbol of their wealth and their standing in the community. Hence, when a buffalo dies, its horns are carefully preserved and, as you can see, mounted on the main support pole for the roof of the family's home. So, placing another pair of buffalo horns on the pole shows that the family's wealth or status in the community has improved even further. Some of the collections of buffalo horns are really impressive, and it is fascinating to see how much care is taken in their placement, their precise placement, exactly where they should be. And just look at that wonderful buffalo head on the front wall of the house too. The village was beautifully laid out, was really tidy and a really peaceful place too. In fact, almost a sort of Sleepy Hollow, as you can see. But there was a beautiful sense of peace and quiet and dignity, which is pretty much synonymous with the Torajan way of life, mostly because they can be very fierce and very warlike when they want to be, but mostly they live a very peaceful life, tilling their fields, making their crops, and above all their atheist lifestyle and beliefs sustain them in everything they do. Quite a remarkable people. We were privileged to be there to see them and to share for a while their lifestyle. It was a very sobering experience. This village is highly regarded for the quality of their arts and crafts. There were some quite exquisite paintings on bark, ideal to take home and hang on the wall. How is this for creativity and ingenuity and beauty as well? A simple chicken coop with the hen in the middle and the chickens above, happily staying there close to their mother. Wonderful, isn't it? There were some really wonderful bark paintings to take home. Marjorie hunted around pretty carefully, but in the end she got precisely the one she wanted. And we now have it home in pride of place on our wall back in Sydney. It looks good, doesn't it? Their wonderful homes are called tokamak and quite unique in the way they rise at both ends, like the bow and stern of the boat, as mentioned earlier. Panels on the walls of the house are quite exquisitely carved, with geometric and animal motifs executed in the sacred colours of white, red, yellow and black. Their house symbolises the universe. The roof represents the heaven, and it is always oriented northeast to southwest, the direction of the two ancestral realms according to Torajan cosmology. We've seen the amazing Torajan lifestyle. Now let's see what happens when they die. Alongside the track, a pineapple grows wild. This is the entry point to the truly remarkable Torajan cliff graves, a practice quite unique in the world. Even their new coffin home has the soaring roof with bow and stern thrusting upwards to heaven. Some family groups are buried in vaults built in caves into the cliff face.
So we are going upstairs? Okay. But when the around 17th century, this area occupied by the Buddhists. So under possession, like gold, like a dress, like something else. So the Buddhist troop take that possession. So in another way, anyway, Torajan tradition, it's very forbidden to touch the grace after to put on the nature. So they move on the hanging grave. So it's the called hanging grave, yes. Yeah. To avoid from the people take it the possession. And then yes, the natural there's a hanging grave also. And then one coffin consists of one. Okay.
It's the strong. All of the hanging graves.
Special men take care of it. You don't worry about it. Of course, some occasions disappear. It must be very, very old. This is the start.
Our excellent guide explained why the Torajans were forced to adopt the practice of burial in caves or in hanging graves to protect them from their traditional enemies, the coastal Buginese, or Bugis, who had originally driven the Torajanese into what is now their mountaintop homeland.
Oh, the white hair. Oh, yeah. It means that maybe she was old when she was died.
The risk of the Buginese grave robbery is now much reduced, and there are now so many bodies to be buried and so many bones to be taken care of, that today they are literally spilling all over the cliff face. And although the village children now make this their playground, the cliff graves are a place of pilgrimage by the descendants, who carefully look after the dressage of the effigies now guarding the caves, and when their clothing becomes a bit worn or shabby, they are replaced with new ones. Some of these platform graves high up on the cliff face look to be pretty fragile, and I suspect that once the timbers deteriorate further, they may well collapse, which would be sad, but probably inevitable, and their bones will then be mixed with the many others lying below the cliff, having accumulated for at least 300 years, according to living memory, and possibly long before then even. As I said earlier, it is a place of pilgrimage, but not sadness, because a place here is the next step on your way to heaven, forever, which the Torajanese regarded the ultimate reward in life. The laughter of the children certainly makes this seem to be a very happy place, which, in accord with the long-standing Torajan tradition, it must be.
It's amazing. So they just put like that on.
Some of these hanging graves are family graves covering several generations, which means that some of the bodies here have yet to fully decompose. But this does happen fairly rapidly in the hot and humid climate of the Torajans' high mountaintop home in the tropics. It's real mountain goat country for old people like us trying to get up high on the cliff face to see these amazing graves. But it was worth doing, and we will forever admire the Torajanese for their attitude towards death and the wonderful life beyond death, which they so much revere.
I don't think that's the right way to come across. Do you have to?
Marjorie places her arms in the traditional pose of happiness and contentment, as shown by some of the effigies in the cliff-face caves. But before people die and their bones reside in their cliff-top grave, while their spirits go to heaven and beyond, forever, back in the real world below the mountains, it's hard work ahead. And I suspect that these wonderful communal efforts in planting rice must be really hard work, back-breaking work, in which everybody has to play their part to make it all happen for them. With such fertile soil from its volcanic past, and being virtually on the equator, and very hot, despite the fact that it is high in the mountains, this is a really wonderful country for rice growing, and they could easily grow several crops a year, but it's hard work making it all happen. The caribou is really loved and well looked after, and its position in the village is quite clear-cut, as this one shows. The village looks to be paradise, sited as it is, overlooking this fertile land where they grow their food, and beyond that, the mountains where they reside in death before they go up to heaven forever. Almost paradise, isn't it? Really wonderful. Amazing. But our travels don't go on forever, and we now have to head back to the coast, sadly. But it's been a wonderful trip to an amazing place. Torajan land will ever remain in our memories as an amazing adventure to see an astonishing lifestyle, which we hope will go on forever for them, and they will always remain the unique Torajans in this complex world of ours. It's almost dusk on our last day in Torajan, with the workers returning from the fields and the children having their last bit of playtime after school before their parents call them home. This village boy enjoys his wheeled toy, quite happy with it, despite it being just simply a lid of something hammered on the end of a pole, so that it will rotate when he pushes it along the ground. I think he would really like to be over there playing with the other boys, but obviously he's either not accepted by them or not allowed to go. But he accepts the way it is and happily goes off to his home. Finishing their day's work in the field, their mother calls these boys in because it's time to come home and have their food, go to bed, and off to school next day, I guess. But now the moment has come and we have to head down to the coast, quite a long way, down to Ujung, capital of Sulawesi, and fly from there to our home in Sydney, Australia. As we head down from the mountains, we pause for a last look into the fields, and although it is on the tropics, the man in the picture shows that he has to wear a shawl to protect himself from the cold of the advancing night in this high country. But telling us that we have left Torajan, his home in the background is the traditional villa-type home with a pitched roof and corrugated iron sheeting to cover it. Our good driver comes out from the combi for a brief smoke on this rest stop on the way, and it certainly struck me that this is the first time I have recorded a picture of him. He was a good driver all the way, very attentive, very careful, and made sure that we saw all the wonderful things we wanted to see, and so that our great guide with us could tell us all about it. It was a magic trip. But sadly, it's now farewell Tanah Toraja.